Hello folks, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another awesome video. If you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, it's time for me to weigh in on the whole Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight from last week. Now, I was among the many people who watched this fight, albeit thankfully I didn't have to pay that much for it. I'm sorry. Throat's a little parched. But anyway, now, reason why I didn't do this last week, on the night that it happened, because I wanted some time to absorb it, to let it marinate in, and also get the feedback, the general feedback of everyone else who watched it. And the general feedback is no one was happy about this fight. None at all. And tonight, me and my father watched on HBO live and for free. I think it was. I'm sorry, I'm blanking. I'm so sorry. I should not be blanking this hard. But tonight's match was between James Kirkland and my boy Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, tonight it ended in a third round knockout for Canelo. I've been following his career for quite some time and am very much impressed by how talented this young man is. Tonight he moves to 45-1. That one loss being against Floyd Mayweather. Now, that fight was pretty much a carbon copy of what happened last. That fight between Canelo and Floyd was pretty much a carbon copy of the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. It was just Mayweather using his superior foot game to just pretty much make Canelo swing at air. That is the only fight that Canelo has ever lost in his illustrious career, and he is barely 25, as I remember. But anyway, I actually like this boxing match because this is the difference between. This is what a lot of people have been saying about the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, in that Floyd ran away and that he hugged too much. I will say that both sides are right in a way that they say that boxing shouldn't, that he boxed a great match, but he didn't fight a great match. So essentially what Mayweather did was he boxed as per the rules. He scored more on points. He didn't he landed more hits against him, but it wasn't anything like a knockout. There were no knockdowns or anything close to a knockdown. It was just him backing up and clinching a lot, just playing to the strengths of the rules. And by the rules, Floyd Mayweather won. He's the superior boxer. But unfortunately, this is not a one-time thing. As a lot of people have said, this is textbook Floyd Mayweather. Now, don't get me wrong. Floyd Mayweather is great. His record speaks for itself. Over 10 years undefeated, 48 wins. That should say something about him. The problem is, in my opinion, he will never be the greatest because he just plays by the rules. And like in boxing, this is the thing with the Canelo fight that happened tonight. The other guy was getting hit with a lot of hits, but he kept on fighting. And Canelo's is a tactical counter puncher. That's what he does. He counter punches, but when he smells blood, he will go in there and brawl with the best of them. This is what the fans wanted to see. And Max Kellerman, as well as Roy Jones Jr., they alluded to the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight last week, and you could obviously see from the questions that they posed both fighters that to both Kirkland and Canelo, that they were not happy with how the match went down last week. Now, I've said this on my Facebook, and I'll say it here now. Floyd Mayweather is great, but he'll never be the greatest. He'll never be Muhammad Ali. He said the week before, he talked about how he was the greatest of all time, and Ali presented himself and said, "Hey, You ain't the greatest. You never will be the greatest. Even though the guy is pushing 90 and he and Parkinson's is pretty much has well, not Parkinson's. I don't know what he has. I'm blanking, of course. Please forgive me. But I don't. But it is just. All right. Let's break this down. Floyd Mayweather, Muhammad Ali is seen as a great fighter, not just because he was magnificently fast for a man of his weight class. He was a heavyweight, but he had the speed of a lighter weight character, and his tactics and abilities as an in-ring boxer were phenomenal at the time. But the reason why he's considered the greatest is because he transcended the sport of boxing. For those of you who don't know, Ali spent a good chunk of time with not boxing any matches, mostly because he didn't have permission to box. For those who don't know, during the Vietnam War, he was drafted to box. He was drafted to fight in the Vietnam War. He famously refused, both on his religious and personal beliefs. He famously said, and I quote, "No Vietnamese ever called me nigga." Basically, he gave up all of the rights and prestige and the money being made for his boxing just for his principles. Now that shows that that is one of the rare athletes whose personal principles evolve him beyond the sport. Now, this is why he's the greatest, because he stood up for civil rights. He did not want to fight for a government that didn't recognize him as a human being, or barely a human being. I mean, his thinking is simple. How can you ask me to fight in this brutal war when you don't even see me, when you barely see me as a person, when I barely have any rights at all, when I'm still sitting at the back of the bus, when I have to go in through the back door for a restaurant, when I'm denied service because of the color of my skin? How can I fight for you if you won't fight for me? And you want me to fight an enemy that I know nothing about, who has done nothing to me, but you want me to fight for them? That takes principles, and he gave all that up because of his principles. Sure, a lot like myself, a lot of people know that he lost a good chunk of his speed. He lost some of his skills, but got it back. Got some of it back, and had some of the best matches of his career with the Thriller and with the Rumble in the Jungle with George Foreman, and his epic trilogy with Smoking Joe Frazier. Ali Frazier won, considered one of the greatest fights of the 20th century. On the reverse of that, Floyd Mayweather, he gets all these big money matches primarily because he knows the reason is people don't like him, myself included. I respect him as a boxer, I just don't like him because he exemplifies everything wrong with black athletes. He flaunts his money around, flaunts his wealth, looks down on his opponents, talks unnormative amounts of garbage, and just in it for the money. He's talented, but unappreciative, is what I'm trying to say. And he will never be great because of it. His own attitude and this personification that this idea that he needs to be hated in order to get the prestige and the money for his fights is not going to help him in his legacy. Sure, he has gone undefeated for a long time, but unfortunately that would not define his legacy. His defining legacy will be some unimpressive fights. I, for the life of me, cannot remember a great Floyd Mayweather fight. I just can't. I mean, my dad can remembers more great boxing matches, like Ali Frazier won, Hearns Leonard. What else? And he knows more about boxing than I do, but there are a lot of great matches in history. Louis Schmeling. There are a bunch of other ones that I can't remember, but I can't for the life of me remember a great Floyd Mayweather fight. I mean, there are some hyped Floyd Mayweather fights, but none that I can say were great that I could watch over and over again. Just now, I just finished watching one of the greatest boxing matches of the 21st century, Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward. They went on to have one of the greatest trilogies in boxing history. They beat the shit out of each other for 10 rounds. 6 months later, they did it again. 6 months later, they did it one more time. And people call that the greatest trilogy, one of the greatest trilogies of boxing, and probably the greatest trilogy that we'll ever see in the 21st century. You can't say the same about Floyd Mayweather, because people are only interested in him in boxing and watching him box to see his ass get kicked. There's some Floyd Mayweather fans out there who like to see him box, but there's an overwhelming majority that just want to see him get his ass kicked. And unfortunately, because of his boxing style, revolves more about getting the decision than getting the win. He won the fight, but he didn't really win the fight. And that's what is shamefully defining his legacy, and I don't think he cares. And this is why I say he is great, but he will never be the greatest. Because while he will get... Now, he said it himself, that getting hated will get you paid. But here's the thing. Getting hated gets you paid. Getting loved will get you a legacy. Getting paid will make you rich. I mean, getting hated will get you rich. Will make you rich. But being loved will make you a legend. And unfortunately, I don't see a legend behind Floyd Mayweather. It's just one guy. It's just Floyd Mayweather had a perfect record. That's it. I don't see much of a legend by him, and unfortunately the record books won't reflect that. I mean, Mike Tyson is more of a legend than Floyd Mayweather will probably ever be, and Tyson's not had a sterling record, mostly because watch the early Mike Tyson bouts. Watch them. Mike Tyson in his prime was a wrecking machine. The majority of his matches never went past the 4th round. He was killing dudes. He was a wrecking machine. But and unfortunately, because of legal bullshit and being the machinations of a treacherous ex-wife and a promoter who didn't give two shits about him, most of that legacy is tainted. But now I love Mike Tyson. Now that I'm older and I can look back and see how wrong and how much pain this guy has went through, I can honestly say I love him. And Mike Tyson could do whatever the fuck he wants. I just saw him on lip sync battle against Terry Crews. I had a blast because Mike Tyson had a blast. I don't care what people say. He's making a fool of himself. After the shit he's been through in his life, he deserves to do whatever the fuck he wants. And if he wants to dance, he wants to lip sync Salt and Pepper, go right ahead, Mike. You earned it. Just do whatever the fuck you want. But my point is this. Floyd Mayweather may be a great fighter, but he will never be the greatest. Not until he loses this elitist, ghetto-ish attitude that, oh, I'm the best because people hate me and they just want to see me get hit. I mean, sure, he left that. The only winners out of that match were Pacquiao and Floyd, because they went away making buco bucks. And people are upset about it. But what can you do? This is Floyd Mayweather is not going to change, and he's never going to change until he retires, or at least he's defeated. And with the way he boxes, no one's ever going to beat him, because all he does is dodge and weave. He'll win matches only by decision. That's his boxing style, right? I mean, and the hype also killed it too. The hype was this was going to be the defining match of the generation. This was going to be our generation's Louis Schmeling. This was going to be our generation's Frazier Ali. But what we got wasn't what we wanted, and people are paying for it. And I think it's going to hurt Floyd Mayweather in the long run. Manny Pacquiao, it really won't hurt, because he has transcended the ring too. He is a statesman. He is a member of the Filipino Congress. He has gone beyond boxing. He boxes because he loves it, but he has gone so far beyond it that it really doesn't. The loss really doesn't hurt him. He's still gonna be the people's champion. He is still gonna be a revered figure. a guy that everyone wants to be around, every guy that wants to be pals with. Floyd Mayweather just looks like that asshole in a strip club throwing money around. No one wants to be with that asshole. I certainly wouldn't. If Floyd Mayweather came to my door and threw me a wad of bills, I'd say thank you, but no thank you, and just throw it back in his face and just say, get off my lawn. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the whole Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather match from last week. If you like what you see, link, comment, subscribe below. Got any questions or comments? Leave them below. I'll get back to you. Want to support the channel? Click an advertisement or two. It literally takes a second out of your day. Or if you want to donate directly, tip jars up there. Drop a buck in the bucket. I could get a taco with it. And those street tacos are amazing. So anyway, this is shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, saying good night, and you ain't gonna be the greatest, Floyd Mayweather. I'm the greatest, and I'm pretty. I'm too pretty. I'm still pretty. I'm 90 years old, but I'm still prettier than you. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Ah! Rumble, young man, rumble.